That was the year that we had to sell our house. We ran out of money. We emptied out our savings account.
We're in $1.8 million of debt. Is that
You got to
right?
bring that up again? Yes, we were in a lot of debt. Yes, it was an outrageous amount of debt. The greatest creators, they do things that excite them, that fire them up, the things that are hard, the things that scare them. This is scary what we do.
The greatest show in sports.
Jesse Cole, he's the owner of the Savannah Bananas.
Waitlist, this is real for tickets, is up to 2.5 million people, and this is also real. My sister and I are on it.
The most recognizable baseball team in America.
I've been to a lot of baseball games, and this is the coolest environment than any baseball game.
This guy is like the modern day P.T. Barnum, but you are so much more than that.
We were the owners of the team, and we were sleeping on an airbed, and that's how we were living.
Wow.
Go after a game that's rooted in tradition,
Yeah.
that has so many people that have always loved it. Your parents, your grandparents, this is my game. They're proud of it. And we said, no, for this generation and where it's going, it's too long, too slow, too boring. We have almost 4 million people on our wait list. 3-4 years ago, we only played in front of 100,000 people total. This past weekend, we played in front of 100,000 people live.
You said one of your biggest fears was to become irrelevant.
Being relevant is actually failing once in a while. He had one of the worst nights I've ever seen anybody have. Sick, throwing up, didn't know if he's gonna, it was a chemo, but it was just, I've never seen anything like it. Our first game on ESPN, the transmission went out. We sent out an email to 44,000 people offering them the opportunity. They won the lottery to get tickets, but there was only 4,000 spots available. That was a huge failure. We literally took care of those fans. It cost us $7 million.
Wow.
That's more than our total business was doing a couple years ago.
How do you learn to believe in yourself? Super excited today. Thank you for joining us on Behind the Wall. One of the most innovative men in entertainment, one of the most creative minds today, the one, the only, the creator of Banana Ball, Jesse Cole.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on Behind the Wall. You know, when I started the series, it was to shine a light on the people and stories behind music, movies, and media. And what was interesting is a lot of the people I've talked to have been inside of the music industry because that's just like where a lot of my passions lie. I used to be a songwriter, I used to be a producer. Mm-hmm. And recently I got to talk to a voice actor, I got to talk to actors, I got to talk to other people inside of entertainment. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're talking to Jesse? Does that make sense? And I'm like, yes, it does. Because what you're doing is so innovative and it's so around entertainment, but it's also so fans first. And I think that's what stood out to me the most. Because for me, what I connected to the most was seeing you actually just talk about your values, what you believe, why you're doing this, why the fans come first. So for anyone who doesn't know Banana Ball or doesn't know the fans first mentality, I'd love to hear about where that really came from for you when it came to fans first.
Well, I think you go back to when you're a kid and you go to your first sporting event, your first concert, and you feel something. You feel something a little different. You're a part of something, bigger than yourself. And, I was fortunate actually, my dad was in a band for a couple of years before he got into the sports industry. So he had a huge love for music. So he took me to a lot of concerts. And I remember certain ones looking around at a whole stadium and seeing everyone singing along. And you feel that. There's nowhere else that it's happening. So I started to have those experiences when I was a kid. And then, when I got to grow up south of Boston, a little town, you get indoctrinated into the sporting world. And so the Red Sox and the Patriots and the Celtics and the Bruins. And so I was 5 years old. And my dad won the opportunity for me to be honorary bat boy for the Red Sox. And so I was very fortunate that I got to be a bat boy for a day. And it was that moment that, stood out because I had one player come up and sit next to me for over 20 minutes. And we became a Hall of Famer, Lee Smith. And he gave me my first fans first moment. And I felt like I mattered. And so that got me into, loving baseball and wanting to be a part of sports. And I didn't realize it then, my goal was just to play professional baseball. But once I ended my career in playing, got injured, then I knew I was going to go in the front office. And so it was an obsession with how do you create something that you can be a fan of. See, a lot of the greatest creators, whether you're music, whether you're filmmakers, whether you're in sports, you want to create something that you would love because there's a different passion and care factor. Steve Jobs talked about this. Ed Catmull in Pixar talks about this. They want to create movies they would love. Steve Jobs, I want to create a phone that I would love because the other phones, he thought they were crap. And so when I looked at the game of baseball as a player, I played my whole life. I loved playing. But as soon as I sat on the other side and watched, I started feeling like it's boring. It's long. It's too slow. And so that whole idea of how do you create something that's built for excitement, entertainment, speed, fun, that if you blink, you might miss something. And what people don't realize, it's 20 years of iteration to get here. Every day it's seeing one new thing. And so, yeah, we're fortunate now with the Bananas and Banana Ball to have a league and, have teams playing all over the country. But, it was just 9 years ago, I was sleeping on an airbed. We sold 2 tickets and, had to sell our house, and we were struggling because people hadn't felt it. They hadn't experienced it. And that's, where we built this. So, innovation, iteration, it comes from the same thing. You need to iterate to innovate. You need to do things over and over again, but you need to put yourself in the fan's shoes. So fans first was putting ourselves in the fans' shoes and saying, hey, this game can be a lot more fun. It can be a lot more exciting, a lot more entertaining. Let's just start trying things to make that happen. And that's where we started.
There's a lot. So this was interesting. You put yourself in the fans' perspective, but I was thinking about it. There's a lot of different perspectives from different fans.
Yeah.
Do you only follow, like, if you were the fan, what you would want to see?
That's a great question. And I think when I look at the fans. So to give you an example, when we do some of our new things, often I'm not just watching what's happening on the field, I'm watching the fans' reaction. And so that's kind of how this started. We built Banana Ball because for 6-7 years in Savannah, we were doing all the fun entertainment. We were doing all the crazy stuff. We had dancing players, breakdancing coaches. We had the Bananas. We had the Banana Band. We were doing all that. But fans were still leaving games early. So what we did for one entire season, every 30 minutes, we would take pictures and video and film our fans when they were getting up, when they were leaving. And so literally, we started realizing by 9 o'clock, fans were leaving the games early, 9:15. And you could tell, but we knew what the percentages were. And we could see that, hey, the 2-hour limit, everyone was like, I'm good. No one was saying we need to have a 2-hour time limit on baseball. There's no such thing as a time limit in baseball. So my point is, there's a point of view. We look at the whole point of view, and so first we look at all the fans. And then also we dig in deep, say, all right, is this something we love? Don't do something you wouldn't love. And I think you got to think of it from all age demographics, but we try to create something. You've been to the game. That's great for 5-year-olds and great for an 85-year-old.
Yeah, I was so amazed to see it yesterday and so thankful to see a Bananas game after all these years. And I'm so glad I got to see it before talking to you because I don't think anyone understands. I think most people out there have seen the viral moments. They've seen the dances. They've seen the trends. They've seen the backflip catches. But it's very different to actually be there.
Yeah.
And what really stands out to me is that y'all have never really done, you said you've never really done traditional marketing. It's all been marketing that is for fans to basically pass along the message of Banana Ball. It's like how people share stuff on social media. So it's like shared in real life.
Well, you create something special.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, Coldplay, for instance. We went to his show, their show, and you look around and you see the lighting, the moments, everything. Like, you're in a moment. And then, what do you see on social media? Everyone's sharing those moments. And so I think most, entertainers, they often just think about their product and they think about how are they going to market their product. They don't think about how do you make your product so remarkable that you don't have to market it. There's a difference. If you make it so remarkable, everyone else will do the marketing for you. And so people are very kind. They're like, oh, you guys are great at marketing. I'm like, we're just trying to create something unique, special, and memorable that then if people feel they're a part of it, they want to share it with everyone. And so that's how we look at it. So every night, that's why we're doing 10 to 15 things we've never done in front of a live crowd. If you do the same show every single night, it becomes less remarkable. And that's how you become a fad. And so when you look at some of the greatest entertainers, the greatest creators, they're constantly creating new things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm obsessed over, creating new things, because that's how you become a bigger fan. If I'm bored and our team is bored because we're doing the same things, we're not going to bring that same excitement, that same level, and the fans are then going to get bored. We have to create new, and it's extremely challenging to do, but it makes it fun.
But it's even the small things that really stood out to me. Because one of the things that I loved is seeing that there was like no taxes that fans paid for food, for merch, for ticket sales.
Yeah.
Tickets don't go higher than $60. It's capped at that point. Yeah. It's all about for the fans' experience. Going back to what you said earlier with this idea of trying different things throughout every single game, inside your audiobook, you said one of your biggest fears was to become irrelevant. And I find that very interesting with, one, what does irrelevant mean to you? And two, how have the greatest creators that you've been studying stop themselves from becoming irrelevant?
That's the question. That's the question. And because, anyone, so many groups have their moments. Everyone has a moment. Everyone's talking about them. And most of those moments fade. There's very few that keep it going. And when I look at the idea of irrelevance, it's not like, I need to be relevant. It's people in the groups that are relevant, they're doing something meaningful. That's the difference. I want to do something that's meaningful to people. And so how do you become irrelevant is, again, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. You don't keep plussing the experience, something I learned from Walt Disney. You're okay with something that's just being fine. You're not bringing in new things. You're not failing. Being relevant is actually failing once in a while. The ones who don't fail are the ones that do the same things over and over again. So when I think, how do you stay relevant? You got to first look at history. We've learned so much from Walt Disney. Again, he continued to plus everything he did. He first started with shorts. Then he said, I'm going to do a full-length animated film. No one's ever done that before. I'm going to do color. I'm going to do the highest level of sound, that he pushed the envelope with Fantasia. And then instead of just regular amusement parks, I'm going to build a theme park, dramatically different than everyone else, with custom rides, all right, with characters, with investing money on a castle where there's no direct money coming from. There's only one entrance, so I can control the experience. He kept plussing and plussing to stay relevant from when he first started animating to when he built theme parks. And then Disney had a challenge when he passed away, because they kept saying, what would Walt do? They didn't just think, what would he do? They think, no, we got to innovate and try new things that Walt may not have been thinking about. So when you look at the greatest creative companies, there's Pixar, okay? But again, they were bought by Disney.
Yeah.
Pixar continuing to create. Saturday Night Live, 40, 50 plus years.
It's insane.
Constantly coming up with new.
And they're still doing it.
They are. WWE.
Yeah.
Say what you want about WWE. I have so much respect for them, because in the 1980s, they were up here and they're still up here.
Yeah.
And so what do? New storylines. You connect with the times. You continue to evolve. Everyone talks about, that was the best cast of SNL. No, that was the best cast. They're continuing to bring in new casts, new people. They're doing timely things. WWE, new storylines. Pixar, they're pushing the envelope on their stories. Taylor Swift, she has reinvented herself.
So many times.
From day one.
Yeah.
Because she's not want to be just known as, I was just that country girl singer.
Yeah.
And she take risks, and she loses fans doing it. We're going to do things that lose fans, but in the overall big picture, she's gaining fans all over the world. And so are you willing to disrupt yourself when it's hard? People don't realize we started as a college summer baseball team. College summer baseball, one of the lowest levels of baseball. And we were selling out every game. We had it down. We had players that came in every year. We couldn't pay them because it was an NCAA violation. We had a great business model. And we said, let's throw that all away and create a brand new sport that no one knows, and just have two teams that play against each other every single night. And we did it because we saw the future. Most people are focused on their current customers, their current fans. They're not focused on their future fans and where they're going. So we disrupted ourselves. And we said, many people said they're going to be the Harlem Globetrotters. They're just going to do exhibitions. And yes, we had a great runway, and it's been very successful. But what are we doing again? We're disrupting ourselves again and creating a league where it's not just the Globetrotters playing one team. We're now 6 teams playing competitive with mixing in the entertainment, which is going to be extremely hard.
Yeah. Because
they're going to want to win, and we're going to want trick plays and dances and celebrations. And we don't know how we're going to do it. But then in 3 to 5 years, we're going to disrupt ourselves again. We already have ideas on how to do that. And I bet you someone like Taylor Swift thinks the same way. 2 to 3 years. I'm going to create this. Then I'm going to maybe create this. But she's following things where her future fans may go, but also what excites her. The things is, the greatest creators, they do things that excite them, that fire them up, the things that are hard, the things that scare them. This is scary what we do. And we get criticism every single day. But that's what fires me up. The only people that do things are the people that actually people that get criticized are the people that actually do things. You want to not get criticized? Don't do anything. Stay home. And so we'll get criticized, but what's happening is people are just misunderstanding. People misunderstood Taylor Swift in the beginning. People certainly misunderstood WWE in the beginning.
Yeah.
And people misunderstood UFC in the beginning. And look at what they're doing. They keep showing up. They keep innovating. They keep creating. They keep making things happen that wow people. And that's what I want to do.
One of the things I really respect about what you talk about is also all the steps it took to get here, but specifically the experiments that maybe didn't work. Can you talk about the experiments that didn't work and then how you were able to find the stuff that did?
Well, you look at the levels of experiment. So Jeff Bezos talked about with Amazon, he goes, we need to have $1 million failures and then $1 billion failures. Because if we don't have $1 billion failures, we're not trying big enough things. So yeah, and one of his biggest failures is the Amazon Fire phone. He went into the phone business. That didn't last.
I don't even remember that.
No one does. It was a huge failure. But the reality is the technology, the group that was working on the Amazon Fire phone helped use that same technology to build the Amazon Alexa and Echo.
Wow.
So is that a failure or is that a success? It's a $150 million failure on paper, but it's a $150 million huge success when you zoom out. So when you look at our failures, we have minor failures, small failures every day. We have some bigger failures as well. When we first started, our first shipment of t-shirts, we misspelled our own name. We had too many N's on bananas. We made little tiny mistakes like that. Our first ticket launch, the ticket system failed. Our first big merchant launch, the website failed. Our first Major League Stadium, the ticket system, literally all the scanners went out. It was an absolute disaster. Our first game on ESPN, the transmission went out. Literally, the first 10 minutes, we couldn't even show the game on ESPN. We've had all those failures, but those don't necessarily excite me. I know we'll fix those. It's the failures from the creative. It's the pushing the envelope. It's the, for instance, 2 years ago, we had a game end and it was a tough call to finish the game in showdowns, which showdowns in banana ball, that's like the end of the game, one-on-one, it's unbelievable. And it was a tough call and the game ended. And we could have just said, hey, all right, it's a bad call. By the next week, we put a new rule into banana ball, a fan challenge. So we literally let fans challenge a ruling on the field. I get excited for that. Like, how quickly can you try something and you don't know how it's going to go? We have changed the rules of banana ball like the first few years continually. So yeah, there's the failures. I don't think we've reached that yet because we haven't tried something truly big enough that it's like, whoo, that one hurt. We've had mistakes. We sent out an email to 44,000 people offering them the opportunity that they won the lottery to get tickets, but there was only 4,000 spots available. That was a huge failure. Most companies at that point would have said, hey, I'm sorry, or maybe not even apologize, say, hey, it was a mistake, technical mistake. We literally took care of those fans.
That's amazing.
It cost us $7 million.
Wow.
That's more than our total business was doing a couple of years ago. That's a huge failure. But when you know who you are and what you stand for, and it's fans first, that's a no-brainer decision every day of the week because we need to be there for our fans in the long term, not just for a short term. Long-term fans over short-term profits. So the failures that I'm excited about are when we launch these new brands, these new teams, and we do things on the field that people have never seen, bigger things. Is there skydiving? Is there entrances that coming? I've always talked about this, riding a bull from the bullpen for the Texas Tailgaters. Is there things that are just, I can't believe they are doing this right now? I'm excited to see those because that means we're pushing the envelope instead of just doing big viral moments, dancing moments, celebrations, which I love. It's pushing the envelope on, I can't believe they just did that on the field. So I don't think the failures, like, again, we have promotions, the living pinata, the horse head race, we've done flatulence fun nights, salute to underwear nights, crab my pants, the pregnant women dance-offs, keg stand karaoke, the mothers in left field race, or known as the MILF race. We've done a lot of ridiculous promotions that to some people they fail. But we've learned how to fail with those. I want to learn how to fail with something much bigger. And so that's what excites me.
How do you define what's bigger?
Bigger risk. If we fail with a promotion, if the crab my pants promotion that we did in Baltimore and we put crabs in people's pants and it just doesn't play and the crowd doesn't cheer, that's no big deal. We're on to the next thing. A bigger one is we go for something. We've built our own broadcast. See, people don't realize everything we've learned to build in-house. We do our tickets in-house. We built our own ticket system with no ticket fees, no convenient fees, no service fees. We do our own merchandise completely in-house. We do our own entertainment in-house. We do everything in-house. We do our logistics, which we don't know how to do. Try to go from all over the country. We had to figure it out. Our broadcast, it's been probably the biggest challenge from a technical standpoint. I don't know anything about broadcast. I know about the show, and we've had a team try to build it throughout the years and add new things. We're still covering a game the way games are covered. I want to cover a game in a way that makes you truly feel a part of it. Right now, you went to our game the other night. You feel it. You take your eyes off something, you're going to miss something. It's loud, it's energy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's perfect for someone with ADD like me, which I haven't been clinically, but I'm sure I have it. It's great for someone like that. But when you're watching a game, it's just, here's the pitch, there's a trick play. Oh, there's a cool gents. I want someone to feel that. I want them to have this immersive experience when they're at home. I want to disrupt ourselves and make the game to watch on TV even better than in person. That's hard. And so that's going to take some failures. And we're going to have to try things with mics, sound, different views that people have never felt before. And I don't know how to do that. And the only way you're going to do that is you're going to have to try it and you're going to fail. And I'm okay with that.
And so that's going to be broadcasted. And you're trying to figure out how to do that. So, because one of the things was one of the big goals you have was to have 1 billion fans, right?
Yeah.
And does that mean bringing 1 billion people, like over the next 20 years, bringing 1 billion people to see games, like with like 30 different teams that you've created? Or does that mean like putting smiles on 1 billion people's faces from Banana Ball?
Well, is there a world? So go. What would be the hardest? Is there a world in one day we impacted 1 billion people?
That's crazy.
Oh, 100%. And I have no idea how to do it. But if you have in one day, 1 billion people saw something, felt something, were impacted by something to Banana Ball that brought them joy, laughter, happiness, brought people together one day. Extremely difficult. So you work backwards from that. What would it take to get 1 billion people in 10 years? What would it take to get 1 billion people in 5 years, in 1 year, in 1 month, in 1 week? And so when you think like that, yes, a broadcast. Right now we're broadcasting our games for free.
Yeah.
On YouTube all over the country.
Which is amazing.
Which completely doesn't make sense in any business or financial terms at all. But that's our commitment. If we're fans first, we got to give our game fans to free for our fans. So right now, we have a huge US audience. I learned from Jimmy, Mr. Beast, who was with us a week ago, he's getting, I think, 70% of his views from outside of the country. Think about that. That's fascinating to me. Imagine people in the different country that I remember watching baseball, but then they start seeing Banana Ball. What am I watching? That might create a huge tsunami of impact and excitement. And so that's what fires me up, is trying to solve that. And, again, you got to realize it's one step at a time. 3-4 years ago, we only played in front of 100,000 people total in an entire year. This past weekend, we played in front of 100,000 people live. So it's just, it's scalability, but to really scale, you got to do the unscalable. You can't just focus on how am I going to get in front of 1 billion fans. People don't realize 1 billion fans is exciting because everyone's like, oh, $1 billion brand, you're creating the next. I don't care at all about that. I want to create 1 billion fans. And the only way you do it is 1 fan at a time. You think about that 1 fan sitting up in the upper deck, in the back corner, in the nosebleeds. It's got an obstructed view because the stadium was built 30, 40 years ago. How does that person sit there and have the best live event experience of their entire life? If you figure out a way to create that, you're on your way to creating 1 billion fans.
You said something really interesting right there, which is a couple years ago you played in front of 100,000 people versus this weekend playing in front of 100,000 people just in a weekend.
Yeah.
That's insane exponential growth in a short period of time. I went all the way back to 9 years ago on the YouTube channel to try to watch all the content.
Good luck.
There's so much.
They were all ridiculous skits. I mean, we were doing fake office skits. We only had 25 games. So it was we sold out the games. What do we do? I don't just create some videos. We didn't even have, we were just having fun.
But it's interesting because I saw a video you posted with Gary Vee.
Oh yeah. That was 6 years ago now, I think.
And you were saying the feats that Banana Ball had accomplished at that point, which is
bananas. We hadn't even played a Banana Ball game at that point.
That's
crazy. It was
crazy.
just Savannah Bananas. I was telling him what we were going to create and what our goal was.
What do you think was the exponential growth factor? Do you think it was utilizing social media to show everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easy way to look at it. But I think it's deeper than that. I think, again, everyone has social media as a tool.
Yeah.
But it's how you use it. And again, most people back in the day, when you had a sports team, you used it to market. Hey, come to the game Friday night. We got a beer special. We used it to say, how do we create something special that is worthy of putting out on social media? Again, we have such the standard that we have to have something that happens at our field with our players, with the fans, that is so fun, unique, that we're proud of, that we then want to share. Not to sell anything, but just to give fans something that's entertaining. And so, yes, once we started changing the game, we started having OTT meetings, which every week we get together and talk, what are the over-the-top ideas we're going to do this weekend that people have never seen before in a baseball field? When we followed Saturday Night Live, we learned from them. Every Monday they have pitch sessions. They have creative sessions. They come in with a blank slate every Monday. What is our show going to be? And then create a pretty epic show. So we're like, we're doing the same thing. We're starting from scratch every weekend, or we need to have that mentality of starting from scratch. And so you pitch, you write down ideas, you share them, you do a table read, you start doing rehearsals, you pull some things out because they don't work, you do props, and you do it in front of a live audience, and then you do the 11:30 show. And we just followed their blueprint. I am so grateful for Saturday Night Live because I was like, how can someone put something brand new, creative at a high level every week? Well,
They did it.
They did it for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
And so that's what we follow, and that's what's driving us in our creativity. And so with that drove the social media that then helped us exponentially start growing because people start seeing, never seen that happen before. The pitcher is doing a dance before throwing a ball. Like, what is that? That was our first big moment, the 3-2-2, which has got over 1 billion plus views because it's like they're all dancing and now they're trying to strike a guy out or get it out. Like, that's crazy, but it makes it entertaining. And as a viewer, you're watching like, what is happening? All right, well, let's see what happens at the end. So then it builds the excitement. And that's kind of, that started pushing us to the next level.
Going back early on, you talked about the idea of getting criticized.
Yeah.
And I was listening to the book, and you were talking about how important your wife has been in this story.
Yeah.
And how important even the idea of the name, Savannah Bananas, and how much people were upset about that name, but it got attention.
Yeah.
How has your wife been involved in all of this?
Well, since the beginning. So people don't realize when I was a 23-year-old GM of one of the worst teams in the country from a business standpoint in Gastonia, North Carolina, I wanted to learn. So I started reading every book, P.T. Barnum, Walt Disney, started learning about WWE. And to learn, I learned I had to get in front of people that have already done it and done creative things. So my first year, 23 years old, I was like, we're hosting a conference. Usually people host a conference, like know what they're doing. And I was like, we're hosting a conference. We're inviting everyone to share ideas and share and somehow I got 20 teams said they'll come or whatever. And I'm talking about, because we did our first ever grandma beauty pageant. So we started doing things that were different. And I'm talking about this. And Emily had just started, working for a minor league team, right out of college. And her boss was there. And her boss heard me talking about this, all the crazy stuff we were doing. The boss left the conference, got on the phone and called Emily and said, I just met the guy you're going to marry, which is crazy. But he's like, because Emily had the same enthusiasm, passion, energy. And so nothing happened. We just connected business-wise. And it was about a couple of years later at another conference, ironically, that I saw her and we connected and we spent 48 hours together. And we were just like, we had such a passion for doing things that bring people together, that bring joy. Everyone sees all the craziness, but like Emily's got a heart that I don't know very few people in the world that have. She grew up in a small town up in New York with three brothers. She was the oldest, so she helped be the older sister, taking care of them with her parents, who were the most loving people in the world. And she just had this heart for taking care of people. Like, she's an Enneagram 2. She wants to help people. That's what she is. And so when she saw what this could be and what we could do together about bringing people together, making people feel like they're heard and they mattered, and basically creating a family. There's a lot of debate in business world between, are we a team? Are we a family? And I see both sides. Netflix says, no, we're a high performing team and we're not a family. You can't let go of your family. You can't fire your family. They're always going to be your family, which makes a lot of sense. But we've built a high performing team with a family culture. And, anybody that joins us, say, you're part of the Banana Ball family. Emily is the one that's built that. What Emily does is she checks in on people every day. And when I'm out there trying to create the show and try to figure out how to do this, how you doing? How's your family? And it's a care factor. And when you have someone like that doing that every single day, plus helping bring on our people, she's hiring, she's working with all our team, our people that have been with us since day one, 10 years. She's working with them daily to mentor and coach about what matters most. Because we don't care about, like I said, it's not about the dollars. It's not, even the billion fans is great, but it's more about how you do it. It's the process of creating a billion fans. And the process of me and our creative team thinking of new things never happened before, and Emily thinking, how do we take care of our people every single day? That's the most exciting part. And so Emily has been the heart of our organization, and the care factor is through the charts. And when you have someone like that, everyone knows really what matters most, and it's taking care of each other. And it's hard to do that when you're scaling like we are. When we're playing all over the country in front of millions of fans, that's something that she's working every single day, trying to figure out how do we do it better. And we couldn't do this without her. There would be no Savannah Bananas without Emily.
It's interesting because you've talked about how you are the big idea guy, and she helps you kind of realistically put those ideas to life. But she also, during the whole Savannah Bananas name and everyone with the criticizing, she came in with all this advice for you of like how to react when the name came out.
Yeah.
And that really stood out to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, again, she cares more about our team than anyone else, our internal team, And so, yeah, when we were coming up with the name, we knew we were going to get criticized. We just knew, because people take pride in the name of their teams and their cities. And Bananas has nothing to do with Savannah. Some people are like, I think they're one of the biggest ports in the country. I was like, yep, sure. Yes, they are. Of course it wasn't. But, we were going to get criticized. And so, yeah, Emily said, we're going to, our small team name, we had 4 or 5 people. Like, we spent a couple days just practicing. I can't believe you named that team. You're an embarrassment to the city. And how to answer that, how to respond to that, and how to deal with that. And so, yeah, she's always been that way. When we've had moments that have gone really bad, and she's seen me at my tough spots, she literally gets in my face in a way and say, Jesse, pay attention right now. What matters most? Focus on what matters most. No one's going to remember that. She's the only one that can do that. And it takes me a second, but has this ability to center us on the big picture and not those moments that, that are fleeting. Something that doesn't go right. A promotion that fails. The other day in Texas, we had these new Texas tailgater aprons, and we didn't have the right person on the dugout. There was no one there. And so people were going up and no one got aprons there. And I was furious because I saw fans let down. She's like, are you kidding me? We're going to get them more aprons. We're going to get them more shirts. We're going to do all of that. It's going to be better. It takes me a second to realize that. So I think that's Emily's role, is she sets the tone on the values of our organization. There was a championship game many years ago, and the grounds crew was in the middle of summer, and we're working with the city, and they couldn't get out there. It's a championship game, and there's weeds, and the grass is overgrown. It's 100 degrees. Emily's out there cutting the grass.
Wow.
But we didn't have any lawnmowers. She's using scissors on her knees, cutting the grass for hours. And when our coach talks about all the time, he took a picture and you could see her out there. And it's like, if that doesn't set the model of leadership from the top, I don't know what does. And so for me, I've just been inspired by Emily. I look up to her, and I'm just so grateful that she supports this. We have 3 kids.
Yeah.
We have 3 kids. We're traveling around the country doing this. It's extremely hard. And the fact that she supports this, where most people say, no, we can't travel all the time. We need to be home. I'm just beyond grateful.
You seem like the kind of person who wants everything to go as great as possible, like anyone who's doing something like this. And when something doesn't go your way, you just talked about what that looks like. But did it take a while to delegate certain processes to other people, or is it very quick to just be like, okay, you're really great at this, you start? Because I would imagine myself trying to do this, I have this vision for it, I want it to go perfect, so I feel like I'd have a hard time handing over the keys in certain aspects.
Yes, this is another very debatable content in the business world, and it's the micromanagement. we say micro leading. And there's a difference. Well, first of all, we're very intentional with words. We don't have any managers on our staff. We don't have GMs. We don't have manager of this. We don't have manager of that, because we believe no one wants to be managed. They want to be led. There's a difference. And so it is not great leadership if in the beginning you just say, go do it. You have to be there with them every step of the way so they understand the standards, what matters most. And once they're able to understand, because our culture is so much different than everyone else. If you're working in a normal retail store, a normal restaurant, yeah, you serve the food, you serve the drinks. Okay, you can go. Waiter, here's the menu. This is how we do it. Go. But we are so distinct with our intentional touch points with our fans on everything, from every email that goes out, from every call, from our voicemails and our hold music, to all these pieces. So then if we just say, hey, you're in charge of our merchandise right now. This is how we do it. Just go. That's terrible leadership, in my opinion. Great leadership is stand in with them hand in hand until you see, hey, I am ready. I am ready to rock. And, some cultures that's not perfect for. But we're not doing a service to our fans if we let someone go right away. So when we look at, give an example, Kara Heater, she's our vice president of marketing. She started as an intern with us in 2018. She's running all of our marketing for all of our teams, all of Bananable. She was an intern, 7 years ago. We worked with her on every single post in the beginning to understand the tone, understand how we speak, how we talk to our fans, understand that even if someone gets a cool picture before the game of the players, but there's empty seats because it's 2 hours before the game, to not share that, because every game is completely sold out with every seat. So that seems like it's showing, not the atmosphere that we create. Those little details that we talk about, it took time. But now I don't oversee our posts. We talk about some of the big things. If we're going to do something we haven't done before, we'll dive in. But Kara has earned that. And she has even given that to other people on her team who've been with us for 2-3 years. They're getting to put it out. So I think it's understand the long game. For some people, we're not perfect for. Someone, it's tough. Someone's been doing it 20 or 30 years. There's a long runway of us working together. We have a very young team and we build it. And we know we don't know all the answers to how to do it, but we know our fans and we know what we're trying to create for our fans. And we believe that's completely unique and distinct compared to so many other organizations. And so that's fans first. We have to guide our decisions and our leadership and our coaching based on that. So that's why we micro lead in the beginning before we say, hey, go run. But I'll tell you, we believe in empowerment. It just is empowerment after a period of time.
How long would you say that period of time usually is?
It depends on the position. It depends on the position. It depends on how great your leader is. So, I look at our head coach, Tyler Gillum, and our director of Banana Ball operations, Adam Virant. They've been with us now for years. Viro, since our first Banana Ball game on the road. They have people come in and work with them from the clubhouse team, from the coaching staff. It can be very quickly because they have a level of being with them all the time. Think about this. Coaching staff, players, you're around each other almost all the time. Myself, some of our marketing leaders, we're spread out. You don't get as much hours with someone to understand how they think. You might have heard of the Mr. Beast leaked memo about, so he has this memo that he shared with his team. And he says, I'm putting this all down because, it's not just the 12 of us that were together the first 3, 4, 5 years. I need to get everything down on paper. So the first 3, 4, 5 years, the 12 of us, you knew everything I was thinking. You knew everything we're trying to build because we're just around each other all the time. And so there's a difference. If you're in a group, the broadcast team, and you're around each other all the time, and you have a leader who's unbelievable on our standards of excellence, that group can probably start being empowered quicker because they are around it every day and they're immersed in it on what matters most. And how long has that leader been with us? That's the difference for us. It's not for everyone. Some businesses are a lot different, but for us, that's how we're learning how to do this.
One of the things that also really stood out to me about your story is your relationship with your father. How you would, as a kid, wait for the doorknob to turn so you could play catch with him. based on hearing his story on how when he got sick, and but then you hearing about like his positivity throughout it, do you feel like that was a good foundation for you to learn how to go through life?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my dad couldn't be closer with someone like my dad. You know, I was the only child, and my parents got divorced when I was a kid, and my dad in the beginning helped raise me. And you know, that one bond we had was baseball. And it, you know, the idea, you know, I think back so differently. You know, we all have this image, you know, of playing catch with your dad. You know, it just doesn't happen as much anymore. It's a different world. It meant a lot more to me because my dad, just like me, had a work ethic that was special. My dad would get up early. He'd work all day. When he'd come home, the first thing, I want to play catch. And we'd go outside and we'd play catch. And I built a love for baseball, but a love for being together with someone, feeling love, feeling like it mattered. You know, again, only child, didn't have people around me, you know, and so that helped. But when I think about my dad is the positivity. And yeah, in 2013, he had 2 forms of cancer. And he had one tumor outside of his liver. It was the size of a peach. And it was tough. You know, again, medicine's come so far in the last 10 plus years. And he was in the hospital a lot. And I was at that time working with our team in Gastonia, North Carolina. And he was like, Jess, you need to stay there with your team. It's in the season. You need to be there. But I called him everything first thing in the morning. And every day I'd ask my dad, how's he doing? And he'd say, I'm great, Jess. Tell me what's going on. What are you working on today? What are you doing? It was such a focus on everything else and a positivity. And every day he was great. But yes, there was one day that I asked him how he was doing. He goes, Jess, I'm good. But what are you on? And I was shocked at the moment. And so we finished the conversation. Afterwards, I called my stepmother and I said, what's going on? And she goes, he had one of the worst nights I've ever seen anybody have. And sick, throwing up, didn't know if he's going to, it was the chemo, but it was just, I've never seen anything like it. And he woke up that morning and the first thing he said is he was good. And when I think about that, I think about all the things that we go through in given days, just the little things. We're in traffic. You know, we had to wait for something longer than what we wanted. Something didn't go our way. And we're mouthing off, frustrated, affects our whole day. My dad's battling cancer. And he's good. And so it helps ground me when I think about my dad and think about now he travels the country. He's getting to see us at Fenway Park. You know, we got to play catch at Fenway Park.
That's amazing.
The last 2 years. I think, you know, often if I get in a bad spot, I was like, you know, channel my dad and just look at what we got to do. You know, playing catch with your son, having fun. He knew, he said, hey, the cancer, it's going to be a season of my life. But boy, I'm going to have an amazing season after. And so I'm going to go through this season as positive as I can and get to that next season. And when you go through adversity, you go through challenges, which, you know, we were sleeping on an airbed down to our last dollar. Grocery shopping was just $30 a week for 42 meals. I mean, it's not real food, my friend, that we were eating. Do
you remember what you were eating?
Oh yeah, 100%. So we would get Hot Pockets, which again, I had a fear of Hot Pockets. I did Hot Pockets in like 7th grade. Like, you know, you do it every day after school. Yeah. And so like I stayed away from it. I was like, all right, we tried again. And I gained a little bit of love again for it. Ramen noodles. It was even like the potatoes in boxes, which is not real potatoes. And then we would splurge every week and we would do Taco Bell and we'd get the dollar menu. And, you know, that was it. And that was it. And we had to make it last. And we had to try to find if there were leftover food at the stadium, if anybody had things. Like that's what we were doing. And that was months ago. We were the owners of the team and we were sleeping on an airbed and that's how we were living. And I did often talk to my dad every day and my dad knew where I was going. We emptied our savings account. I was down to nothing. And it's just like, hey, you know, be the best you can be right now. This is just going to be a season. And I kept saying, wait till opening night. Wait till opening night. When they see the dancing and the fun and the banana baby and the bananas, and they see all the celebrations we're going to do, and they see players going into the crowd and passing out roses to little girls, and they see how we break down the barrier, it's going to change. You just had to get to that next season. And so that mindset, I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be here without my dad and that mindset.
I love that. And this was also when you're talking about sleeping on the air mattress, this was when you sold your house. We're in $1.8 million of debt. Is that
You got to
right?
bring that up again? Yes, we were in a lot of debt. Yes, it was an outrageous amount of debt. You shouldn't be in that amount of debt when you just get married, your first year of marriage. No. Yes.
What was the mindset when all that was happening for you? And I also heard that you would write every morning.
Yes. Yeah. So it was interesting. So I hadn't fully got into it. I started to a little after, but when my wife and I got married on October 10th, 2015, and I said, where are we going to be in a year? And I said, what if I write every day, every single day about what's happening, what's in our life, the things we're grateful for, our journey of just our first year of marriage. And yeah, I wrote every morning. I actually created a book on the 1 year anniversary. I gave it to Emily. And it's crazy because that year was the year that we started the Bananas. That was the year that we had to sell our house. We ran out of money. We emptied out our savings account. And so it's all written down. And every morning I would write down with a gratitude mindset and with a positive mindset, as opposed to, well, couldn't sleep last night again on the airbed, struggling, we're out of money. I wrote about the good things, and I started seeing the good things. And me and Emily, we do this still nightly. It's rose, rose, bud. So you learned this from a writer before, but what are the roses? And then what were the great things of the day, and what's the bud, something you're looking forward to? And it just, sometimes we all have to reframe our mindset. We can get in the rut. So we started doing that. So I started writing, and that really changed a lot of things. And it was maybe a year ago, right around the same time, that I read the book Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And that changed everything. And, great story, Hal. He got into an accident, almost died, another depression, and was considering, he was in a tough spot. And he started doing what he calls them, his lifesavers: silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And so I started that around that same time and started just writing every day, writing ideas, having gratitude, visualizing, exercising. I started running every morning, which I still do to this day. And win the morning, win the day. And so during that tough time, started that mindset of win the morning, win the day, keep thinking about the positive. And for my dad, for my Emily, surrounding myself around people, we were able to get through it and get to that opening night, which changed everything.
Do you remember actually writing, or were you typing?
Oh, I write down. I write everything. I still have notebooks. I write it. My handwriting's getting dramatically worse. And I wish it was getting better, but maybe my mind's working too fast and I'm tired or whatever it is. But I write every morning. And so what I did was I wrote, and then it went into a book. Yeah. And so even I wrote into a book, and it was given to her. It's pretty cool.
And you write down your ideas every morning too, right?
Yep. My idea book. Ideas are everything. And, ideas make the world go round. And I think often we can just get into a rut of doing the same things over and over again. And so ideas fire me up. They actually get dramatically harder, though, once you start doing ideas for years. So in 2018, I started my idea book. I got this from Mike Veck. So Mike Veck was the son of Bill Veck, who was one of the greatest owners of all time. The Chicago White Sox, he giveaways constantly, grandstand managers night. He let the fans in a major league game actually manage the game and make the decisions on what was going to happen. Like, he was the most fans first owner ever. And his book influenced me. And then I went to a conference when I was young, and Mike Veck, his son, who ran minor league teams, St. Paul Saints, he did amazing things too. I mean, unbelievably innovative, so much respect for him. And he said, you got to have an idea box. And so I went to his conference, and everyone had their own boxes, and we decorated them. He goes, when you have ideas, he goes, my dad used to tell me, if the house is on fire, get the idea box. That's the most important. So right there, I realized that the value of ideas. And so before, I had an idea box that I would write down, the hairiest man contest, the pregnant woman dance off. I wrote down ridiculous ideas. And then once I realized just not have a box, because I need to do it every day, I start building an idea book. And what's amazing is one of my early idea books, don't even have it custom made. One of my early idea books is in the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And it has the first iteration of the 10 ideas for a game we were going to call Show Ball then, which became Banana Ball. And many of those ideas back in 2018 are actually what we do today.
Wow.
And so the power of ideas. And our whole team does it. We come up with ideas every day. We share them. Some are bad, some are good. But most people don't work their idea muscle. Most people, they just say, I got to come up with some ideas. The only way you work your idea muscles, you have to do it daily, just like you're working out. And when you think about someone getting their reps in the gym and they're on 7, 8, 9, 10, that's when it gets really hard. You can do one set.
Go into failure.
I can come up with 2 or 3 ideas. Push yourself to 10 ideas on one subject, on one bucket. And that's what we try to do.
What is your, because you do this every day. You come up with ideas every day. So what's your process to come up with ideas then?
You got to have a bucket first. So that, for us, now again, everyone has their own process.
Okay.
I got into a lot of challenges coming up with ideas when it's like, okay, what are the random ideas today? You got to have a bucket.
Like a theme?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we use buckets in our terms. But yeah, so like the tailgaters, we just launched the Texas tailgaters. So we had their opening weekend. So constantly we're thinking of, all right, what on-field promotions can we do with tailgate games specifically? What on-field promotions can we do with food? What things can we do with country music? What is how could we do things with a mechanical bull? So like a mechanical bull could just be one idea bucket. Okay. The pitcher rides him in from the bullpen or rides it and then comes into the game. Do you have it at the first base coach? So you literally have a guy or third base coach signaling a guy on a mechanical bull riding him in. Do you have it as the entrance that you can only enter the field by taking the mechanical bull? Like all those different things. You think of one singular idea and then build it.
And you never shoot down ideas, right?
No. So that's the biggest challenge because once you start doing it for a long time, you can see very quickly an idea won't work. You have to be able to say, okay, how do we make it bigger? How do we involve the fans more? How do we get a button at the end? So a button, for instance, is someone going to get pied? Could they fall in a fun way? Is there going to be a bucket of water? What is the button at the end? And so you have to
like
have
a tag in a show, kind of like
it's a big final moment.
Okay.
So for instance, most minor league teams, they have, all right, here's the race. The kids put on the big uniforms and they run around. Okay. So someone wins the race, but what if it's the kid wins by a lot? There's no real big excitement.
And there's no memorable moment.
Correct.
Yeah.
So even when we have races, like we have the sheet race or the bull sheet race, we call it now. So we actually have the bull sheet race. So we have 4 kids in sheets that run. And we added, so this is a plus. This is, again, we've done a sheet race for a year. It's great. It's a great visual. You have 4 kids in sheets, but they have to get their hands and their legs in it. So you see these 4 huge sheets running in the outfield. Great visual. It's been a good promotion for us. And one of the things, hey, it's just a big visual. It's fun, but didn't have a button. So one of the things is like, hey, kids, you have to dive up in the air through the finish line. So just one extra button. You see this big sheet just getting airborne going through this. It's good. It was like, all right, we need more. So one of the ideas with the tailgaters was like, all right, Bulls, country theme. It's like, well, what about the bull sheet race? And so, well, what does that look like? Well, what if you actually have a bull, the race starts and you have a bull costume and the bull starts taking off and just pushing kids down. And so, I mean, these are like 12, 14-year-olds and pushing them down. And now it has like 4 buttons because one kid goes down, the crowd laughs. The next one goes down and the bull usually wins, which you're not supposed to beat kids in races, but it takes it to another level. And that's the plussing of a promotion. And that's how you build on it. And so we added 1 button, a great visual, but then the jump to make it 1. Now you had the bull and now you had 4 buttons to it. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the way we think about it. So whatever you're creating, what are those big moments in it and how do you make them bigger? And that's what we're constantly obsessed with.
So your process is like a bucket, come up with a bunch of ideas.
Yes.
Would you assume like 10 too little? Like, would you go even more? And
you can go more, but yeah, I think 10's a really good number for us. But actually it should be 11. 11 means a lot to us, but that's a whole nother story. But I've never thought about that. It should be 11. Long story short, 11. There's 11 banana ball rules. There's 11 fans first principles. We count down from 11 because the 11th letter in the alphabet is K. K is the symbol for potassium. So everything we do 11. So it's a little like thing not everyone knows. But yeah, to go into it, I mean, we push ourselves with that number, and then we start we just start testing and experimenting. So where were you going with that? What was the thought process?
it was kind of like how, and like you come up with 11 ideas, and then how do you decide which idea to go with?
Yeah. So then there's a lot of debate. See, debate is good. Hungry, like really good debate. Like the other day, we had a 3-hour debate on what we were going to do for the King of the Tailgate. This was 3 hours. It went from the morning all the way afternoon. I mean, again, we didn't 3 hours continuously, but we're like back to it. And we just kept realizing, how do we do a King of the Tailgate? And someone says, that's not big enough. That's too small. It won't be seen great on the broadcast as well as great for the live crowd. I don't think we're going to get a pop. How do we make it bigger? And so those questions, and then, we eventually say, this is what we think right now, the best we can do. And then you do it, and then you see it. The thing is, no one knows what they want until you actually see it. This is what Steve Jobs said. No one knows what they want until you show it to them. So we can talk about ideas until we're blue in the face, but you have to see it. But sometimes you can see it easily by the idea. So for instance, we did farm to table, which was, we had 2 people in pig costumes run, and they're racing, and we put 2 ladders, and they had to climb the ladder and then do a Bill's Mafia jump onto a table. All right. So what we realized was like farm to table. Even if the race, that one pig's winning by a lot, the idea of a pig jumping airborne to smash a table will get a pop from the crowd. Hopefully not a pop of their knee or their leg or their arm or whatever. But that idea was like, we can see that without actually demonstrating. We knew that if they fall on the table and they're running and pigs racing, that'll get a pop. And it did. But, and that's the mindset. So we go in with a bucket. When we go to a city like Baltimore, okay, guys, here's the bucket. What are Baltimore themed ideas that would be really unique to Baltimore? So crabs, crab my pants promotion, where we put crabs in people's pants. Who's got crabs? We actually did a promotion called Who's Got Crabs? And we had this promotion with crabs. And so when you can think into a certain way and you can know what things are known for, then your mind can go that area. But so we always have to have that theme, that bucket going into a week or going into, hey, we want to do new merchandise for our new team. All right, what's something that hasn't been done before, but what would fit that brand? What would fit that theme? How do we think about hats differently? The tailgaters, they have custom now, almost like cowboy hats that they wear. And so you think about all that, and that's what's fun for us. You do things that, haven't been done before, or do them in a different way.
I would assume that with all the success that Banana Ball is getting, there's a lot of people who are going to try to bananify different industries.
Great. I love it.
And then inspiration, highest form of flattery. With approaching the idea of something and trying to innovate an industry, do you think that you could take the same principles that y'all did with Banana Ball and apply it to anything?
Yes, to an extent, but I want to be clear, like, we have learned from the greatest innovators. We've learned from the greatest disruptors. If you look at the core of everything, where everything starts, and this is what I believe in as much as anything, you got to put yourself in your fans, your customer shoes, and look at every friction point in the product, in the experience, and do the exact opposite. That's all. That's the starting point on everything. When you think about it, all right, Uber and Lyft, the cab industry, okay?
Yeah.
Airbnb, the iPhone, where the phones were.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Where Blockbuster was. I mean, think about Blockbuster. You would have to literally drive somewhere, hope that your movie was there, and then if you get it, you have to only get it for a certain amount of time. You got to rewind. All right, be kind, rewind, and then you got to bring it back, or you're going to get charged extra. Blockbuster was built on friction.
Yeah.
Netflix said, we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to send you as many DVDs as you want just send it back to us, unlimited for a price. They were already defeating friction. And then when they made the streaming, they were defeating friction. Every great innovative company have done the exact same. Apple did it with multiple avenues from, the iPod first. They disrupt. It was a Walkman that could only play a certain amount of songs. And then the MP3 players, which were total clunky and only lasted about a year. It wasn't a good system. And he said, there's friction here. How do we make it simple? How do we make it clean? How can I put 1,000 songs in my pocket? And he eliminated the friction. Anybody who wants to innovate, that's what they do. Amazon's done it as well as anyone additionally. I mean, you look about, go trying to get a book. No, we're going to have every book possible. We have the world's biggest bookstore. And now we're going to do it with everything else. And no, we're not just going to get it to you in 2, 3, 4 days. Now we're going to do 1 day delivery. Now we're going to have Prime. They kept innovating and making it. So whatever industry you're in, put yourself in the customer's shoes and look at what every friction point there is and say, how do you attack it? And start at the macro. If you really want to be big, start the macro. Baseball, the most traditional game, America's pastime. I should have chose something easier because you know what? Go after a game that's rooted in tradition, that has so many people that have always loved it. Your parents, your grandparents, this is my game. They're proud of it. And we said, no, for this generation and where it's going, it's too long, too slow, too boring. We are getting entertained right now at our fingertips every multiple seconds. and it's personalized for us. They know exactly what we like and what we don't. And we're going to keep the sport of baseball or any sport the same it's been for 50, 70, 100 years? No. But I realized that for me, there was friction. It was too long, too slow, too boring to too many people. The game, the mound visits, the walks, the stepping out of the box, the lack of celebration, the fact that, if you strike out a guy, act like you've always done before. If you hit a home run, just act like you've always done before. You're going to get hit in the back by the next pitch. No, we want celebrating. When I was a kid, my dad told me that. Jesse, hey, if you hit a home run, act like you always done before. That was the right way to play the game. There's a difference between, I understand that people say the right way to play the game. I get it. But what's the right way to create fans? That's a different question. The right way to play the game, the baseball game or a traditional game, is to play it the way it's always been done and respect the game. But we're not playing that game. We're trying to create fans. What's the right way to create fans? It's to do things fans have never seen before, to get excited about things, to celebrate, to have fun. Fun is contagious. If our players are having fun every single day on the field and in the crowd with the fans, our fans are going to have fun. That's what fires me up. And so again, put yourself in the customer's shoes. Don't create the best product that you want to create, that you think is just best, that's just best to make money. Create a product that is best to create fans that you love, but you love because it eliminates the friction that you're so used to from that product or that industry. Again, it's a mindset that I believe in, and I believe there's so many more industries that are ripe for disruption if you look at what's frustrating. The ticket industry. Right now, that's why we built our own ticket system. We wanted to learn ourselves. No ticket fees, no unit fees, no service fees, and we pay your taxes.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
But again, what's best for fans? Now, we still haven't figured it out, and I think many people are trying how to do it where a business can actually make money and do it. How do you not charge fees? Well, the thing is, I'm not interested in making money on the fees. I'm interested in creating fans. So if you have a whole nother business like Banana Ball, and fortunate so many fans buy merchandise and support us in that way, can we build our ticketed system where it's not based on driving lots of revenue? It's creating what the best ticket experience is for fans. We have a long way to go. In the secondary market, they are some of the most talented, creative, innovative. They have found a way to do it at a high level. But the fact that fans are having to go to the secondary market and pay $400 for tickets for us when our tickets are $40 and $50, it eats me to my core. Every day, I get so frustrated because fans say, this is what tickets are. I can't believe you're charging this. Or they show up they traveled from all over the country. They fly in and they find out those tickets were fake tickets. They were speculative. And they paid thousands of dollars to get there. It hurts. And so we're going to find a way at some point to disrupt that, even if it's just in our own world. Maybe if it's not for the whole ticket world, because we still want to create 1 billion fans of Banana Ball. But if we can figure out a way for fans not to go to a secondary market and pay outrageous outrageous costs for our tickets, and come to our games at reasonable, affordable prices, and know that they have a guaranteed ticket, we're gonna make that happen. It's gonna take a long time, but we're gonna make that happen. So again, it's just look at the worlds that are tough for your customers, the things that people hate. The best business model in the world is to stop doing what your customers hate. There's so many things that people are frustrated by. So create a model that doesn't do that. And that's what we've tried to do with the baseball and the fan experience to create Banana Ball, and now ticketing, and maybe there's ways with merchandise. Anything that touches our fans, we want to create the best possible experience. And we're not there right now. We're not even close. It's going to take years. It's going to take decades. But I'm excited for that process and that journey.
Have you thought of ideas of how to disrupt the secondary ticket market?
I think about it daily, but it's not something that it's a simple game of supply and demand.
Yeah.
Often, again, we're not the first ones. Pearl Jam, many years ago, they were on a fight for this. Taylor Swift, all of artists that truly care about their fans, they want to fight it. Bruce Springsteen, all of us. But the reality is, right now, this past year, we're entertaining over 2 million fans. We have almost 4 million people on our wait list. That's not even including groups that want tickets. The demand so far outweighs the supply. So right now, there's a challenge with the secondary market. Do I want to build a secondary website with every ticket at face value with no fees? You better believe it. Are we working on it? You better believe it. But it also goes into human nature. Do people care as much about who we are and what we stand for in the fans first way? Or if they have one extra ticket, do they want to try to make a couple $100? That's the challenge. So people have an opportunity to make a lot more money, or the right thing, just get all your money back. If you can't come to a game or whatever, sell it back to us. We'll give you all your money. But people are going to have decisions to make. And I hope that we have built a brand that when they think of our tickets, they think of, I'm going to do the right thing for the fans. And if we get that thought process, we're going to make a pretty good progress on, I don't want to say beating the secondary market. You never beat the secondary market, but can I get more tickets that in fans' hands that are face value? And I think we only sell tickets to our fans. Like if we find out tickets are in the secondary market and who they are, we cancel those tickets. We do not sell. When people say we sell zero tickets to scalpers of the secondary market. We will never do that. But again, there is speculative tickets. What will happen is when we announce where we're playing, that night, there'll be thousands of tickets on the market and they don't even exist yet. It's called speculative. And that's the game. They hope to get tickets, so they're going to try to sell them and make money and then try to do everything they can to get those tickets.
Wow.
That's how the game works. And so, hey, they do a great job. They're very successful businesses. I have respect for the way they've built platforms. But for us, for fans first, we're going to find a way to make it better. And I think that's the same thing in the concert industry. We've seen it everywhere, music industry. So.
Speaking of music, going to the actual Banana Ball game, next level experience. For anyone who hasn't gone to a Banana Ball game, I would highly recommend it. Music seems to be a very important piece. It's almost like its own character in Banana Ball.
Yeah.
There's a song that plays, I've tried timing it, every 15 to 30 seconds. Sometimes the song goes longer depending on what it is. Are the songs the same? Because I saw there was a script. There's a script that y'all follow.
Yes, yep.
Are the songs often the same every single time? And are they for like cueing the game in a way? And
to an extent.
And is there a purpose also for the music? Because there's so many songs also. They play every 15 to 30 seconds and the game goes for 2 hours. So I'd love to hear about
and not even counting the 3 to 4 hours beforehand that we're entertaining fans.
Very true.
See, at 2:00, we open up our plaza at Major League Stadiums and we start our show then. And then at 3:00, we have our players signed for an hour. And then at 3:00, we have another show, a stage show in front of the stadium in front of thousands of fans. That's 3 to 4:30 with music. Then from 4:30 to 7, 2.5 hours before the game starts, we have music going on. And then 7 to 9. And then after the 9:00, we have our post-game plaza party where we have a live band set that goes from 9 to 10:00. Music's for 8 hours. It's everything.
That's crazy.
It's everything. So yes, music sets the tone in more ways than one. We look at music on how do we make people feel? What's the energy we're trying to get? What's the cadence of the show? With our big walk-ups and celebrations, yes, we start with the song often first. Here's the song. Here's how we want to do an entrance. Here's how we want to do a celebration. Here's the blocking. Here's the choreography. Are they coming from the crowd? Here's where people are joining in. All that. The regular music that plays during the game, we have amazing, with the Bananas particular, Shark, Mark the Shark, he has been with us since day one. He'll tell you that when we were first hiring, I said, hey, one thing I want, just no dead air. And that's not common for baseball, no dead air. And we used to get fined for playing music during the game when we were in a regular league. And I was like, my mind says, what's it going to take? We're not going to stop playing music. Like, you're supposed to just play music.
Why would
not
you
when
get fined?
Oh, well, we were in a league. We were in the Coastal Plain League. What were you saying?
Why?
Because the rules, you're not supposed to play music when the ball's in play. That's
because it could be distracting to the players.
Correct.
Okay.
If you can't play these guys are professional. If you can't play with music playing, we got to distracting. It's just all about learning. So we would get fined. And so, but he learned, Shark, how to do it unbelievably and know what's happened in the game. Oh, all right. We had a tough inning. We need big energy now. Let's get a big sing-along. All right, let's play a sound effect here. Let's do a joke. Let's play all those moments are built into because of his experience. And now the rest of our DJs and announcers have built that and started learning that as well for other teams. But yeah, we have music and dance is a huge part of our show because you know what? You talk about bringing people together. We sing together. We dance together.
Yeah.
You experience music together. That is the heartbeat of our entire show is that music and that dance and that feeling of like, ooh, I almost went through a concert experience while watching a game.
What's cool about music too is one, what you said earlier about Beast getting people outside of America as his audience. You don't really need to know a language to connect with music. You don't really need to know the same language. And then on top of it, like music itself is such a community-driven thing. And it's the only medium of entertainment that can be enjoyed watching over and over, or like listening, consuming over and over and over and over again. The more you actually listen to it, often the more you enjoy it. People can watch movies 50 times if they want to, but music is something that people enjoy the more they consume it, which really stands out. And like, music is often compared to a memory. So like I kept hearing similar songs come up over and over again, songs with Bruno Mars, T-Pain, put your hands up and they stay there. And then every single time fans would interact with it.
Well, those are the hitting entrances. So that, not many people know this. This is, so I played ball my whole life.
Okay.
And as a hitter or a pitcher, you always get to pick what's your entrance song. And so everyone mostly just picks the songs they like, which makes sense because they want to get in a spot where like they feel good. They pick songs they like. Not often do people pick songs that will actually get the crowd into it. And think not about yourself with your entrance song. Think about the crowd. And so we started thinking differently there. So that's very intentional. You know, with Ryan Cox, put your hands in the air like that. Like that wasn't necessarily his entrance song. We talked about, hey, what are some ideas that when you come up, the whole crowd gets into it? You know, YMCA is like, everyone plays that during the game once. No, we have that as one guy's hitting entrance. So throughout the game, everyone's doing YMCA a few times, just for like 10 seconds. Very intentional.
I did not know that was the entrance music. That's cool.
That's the entrance music.
Okay.
And so there's still more ways, and eventually we're gonna start building our own creative music, our own original music. And so when you build your own original music, very WWE-like, the Undertaker theme, as soon as it comes on, John Cena, you know the music, you can feel it. So you start building that and you start getting more reactions from the crowd. If you can look around a whole stadium and everyone is doing something with their hands, you feel a part of something.
Yeah.
And so as a hitter, yes, it's cool to have a song you like, but if you have a song that the whole stadium is doing something for you coming up, that's pretty cool too. And our players have learned to really love and appreciate that. So music is so important to getting the crowd involved. It is. That's funny because you just thought they were regular songs.
Yeah.
No, you're like, they played it 3 or 4 times. I'm like, yeah, every time that guy comes up. But again, that's part of it. And I think, strikeout songs, pitchers, if they have a strikeout, they have a song because they go into a certain dance. There's all these things that people don't know that are built into our show.
Wow.
Over the last few years, I've sat down with some of the greatest minds in all of music, and they've told me stories and given me some of the best tips that changed my entire perspective on creating. And I'm looking to give that to you because I'm hoping that it can help you just as much as it helped me. My goal with Behind the Wall is to shine a light on the people and stories behind music, movies, and media. It's to inspire the next generation of creatives, but it's also to create the platform that I wish I had when I first started making music, when I first started being creative, when I first started making videos. Behind the Wall has taught me so much on this journey, and I want to take these lessons that I've learned and help the next generation. So I put together 15 of the most important and impactful lessons that I've learned on my own journey from these people directly, from some of the greatest minds in all of music. People like Chris Martin of Coldplay, Benny Blanco, Ryan Tedder, Julia Michaels, Amy Allen, Bonnie McKee, Savan Kotecha. So many of the greatest minds in all of music, people that I had the pleasure and privilege of interviewing. People like Ryan Tedder, who gave me one of the greatest pieces of advice that helped me on my own journey. People like Benny Blanco, who changed my entire perspective 6 years into making music. People like Marshmello, who taught me that as long as something sounds good to you, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And I'm looking to pass this knowledge on to you, which will be 15 lessons from the greatest minds in music, which will be in the description completely for free.
And now let's return to Behind the Wall.
This might be a very niche question, just something I was curious about. We talk to a lot of songwriters, artists, and they often talk about how if you can get your music in sports stadiums, played at sports arenas, played during games, it can be a really great factor for income for them because of performance royalties, especially when you play for anything that's like 5,000 higher. Every single time you play a song, is that like a performance royalty? Do you know? I'm just curious.
No, I mean, what I've seen is it's our live performances that really drive things. So when the All-American Rejects surprised everyone at Fenway Park,
Yeah.
and we had them come out, millions and millions of views, people were talking about it. And so I believe that helps both brands, the All-American Rejects and us, and that was awesome. And Tyson and their group, so they have the same mindset, create fans, create fans, create fans.
And they've been doing some really amazing
The
things.
pop-ups, yes. Yeah, we talk about that all the time. I mean, they're really impressive. Chance the Rapper in Chicago, when he came out. Again, people don't realize Maceo and our team choreograph and block and just do everything to make it great. But when that comes out and then millions of people see it, it creates a buzzworthy moment both ways. Because we're trying to create, like that was, I don't want to say, like Super Bowl is unbelievable what they do with their halftime shows. I mean, the timing, the blocking, the choreo, the fan. But we try to do like a mini, as much choreo blocking, think about it, how you do 3 songs in a 2-minute period and make it like that type of moment for our fans. If you do it well, which we're fortunate our team is so talented creating that, it gets a lot of traction both ways. And so, yeah, I think when we play songs at the stadium, it's great. But, you know, those songs, if we're playing at the stadium, they're already known. But when you have the performances, and we bring a lot of those into the show, that helps.
You also had Travie McCoy. I saw that one.
Yep.
Are there any like artists where you're like, we would really love to get them at a Banana Ball game?
Well, the one I always envision is, you know how we did Yellow?
Of course.
I envision at a 100,000 seat stadium and the lights off and everyone's got their lights up on their phones and fans were all, now please welcome to the field. Join us for a little Yellow. Please welcome Coldplay. And they come out and they play it. Surprise, don't tell anyone. By one of those stadiums and you see it and you feel it and it's a live performance and everyone looks around and says, I can't believe we're part of a moment here like this. So that's one. And, you know, I think about those moments. Those are the special ones.
I love that. That's one of my favorite ones ever because you guys play that song every single game. Is that right?
That's a Bananas tradition. So every team has their own song, like Tailgaters, Friends in Low Places, and the Party Animals. They have a live band, Party Down, who's unbelievable. Party Down is amazing. They are the Party Animals official band. And they actually come down the aisle singing and playing Don't Stop Believing with the lights down and it's pink and everybody, and they stop and the whole stadium sings it. That's their moment. And so, yeah, that's another one would be really cool. But
amazing.
Those, you got to build those distinct moments that people can look forward to and feel a part of something. And so, yeah, I think those, if we can bring on an act, you know, again, we have so much respect and admiration. I've read and listened to everything about Taylor Swift. And yes, do I and a lot of the team appreciate and love her music? Yeah, she's a tremendous songwriter, amazing at what she does. But it's how she creates fans that really inspires me. And to have Taylor do a performance, I know that's might be years in advance, but to do one at a venue or a place that maybe she's never done that we do, that's really unique and special. To have her come out, that would be it. I know our whole team and everyone, we would feel really proud of that. So I look at a Coldplay and a Taylor Swift, and the crazy thing is, as wild as that is, I think it might be one day that will happen. And that's because all these things that I believe selling on major league stadiums, football stadiums, NFL stadiums, you know, no one would ever thought that's possible. But if you believe in it and you do the right thing and you always focus on doing what's best for people, fans, a lot of times karma and the world works together to make those happen. And so I think those two will be pretty special in the years to come.
I think it definitely will, especially seeing everything that y'all have been able to accomplish. One of those things that happened that you even talked about in the book before it happened, I was listening to the very end of the book before you actually came in, and you were talking about one day selling out Fenway Park. And you were like, I know this might sound cocky, but we're going to make it happen one day, and then it did.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's
one of the things most lacking in the world today, I believe, is belief. It's believing in something. You know, there's so many people that tell you can't do things, tell you, you know, you're not good enough or you shouldn't be do this. And they want to push you back to normal, push you back to the way things should be, but not what they could be. And so from my dad, from Emily, I've had tremendous people around me, from reading every book about Walt Disney. I've had surrounded myself with people that believe in the impossible. And as Walt said, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. And so, yeah, to think a little small college summer baseball team in Savannah, Georgia, where we only sold a handful of tickets when we started, had to sell our house, empty out our savings account, could sell out Fenway Park. That's crazy. But once I started to see the fans and see how they responded to our games, and started to say, hey, we're going to take a chance on Banana Ball and play it in that first city in Mobile, Alabama, in front of just 3,500 fans, and saw that they showed up, I was like, we're going to make this happen. You just have to be obsessed with continuing to get better for the right reasons. And our right reasons are to make a better experience for the fans. So I dreamed it because, I was that kid that was an honorary bat boy for the Red Sox when I was 5 years old. I saw hundreds of games there, sitting with my dad, watching Mo Vaughn and Roger Clemens and Wade Boggs. And then, later getting to watch Pedro Martinez, David Ortiz. I envisioned it. And when I got that phone call, when we started creating buzz, we started selling out our tour, in minor league parks. And I got a phone call from the CFO of the Red Sox. And he said, hey, we've been following you guys. You're doing great stuff. He said, what would it take for the Bananas to play at Fenway? In my mind, I covered myself. What would it take? What do you mean? In my mind, I was like, well, what do you have in mind? and again, the world came together, and it was amazing. And we went there, and they had to shut down a new street they never shut down before because of the demand and the excitement and our fervor of our fans.
Crazy.
And going through Fenway Park and seeing people holding up signs with my, little small town Situate and saying, you guys did it. It makes me emotional thinking about it. But, to me, it was achieving one dream. And just like Walt, Walt had many dreams, and they kept getting bigger. And I'm excited we were able to do that one and show that a dream that's to many is impossible, we were able to accomplish. And now we're on to the next dream.
What is the next dream?
It's from a storytelling standpoint, it's nice to be able to have like this very simple image of what that dream is. It's going to this place. It's going to this place. But, when I look at it, I wouldn't have ever dreamed selling out NFL stadiums and college football stadiums. I would never dream that because that's crazy. You don't do that. I have certain dreams and they're bigger, but it now I really look at the next generation. I have 3 kids, 2 7-year-olds and a soon to be 4-year-old. And my 7-year-old son, every day he goes out and he practices trick plays. He picks up the yellow banana ball and he's out there having fun. And do I see a dream of there's kids not only all over the country, but all over the world picking up a yellow banana ball for the first time. And that's the first ball that they want to play. That's the first sport that they want to play. Yeah. Does that fire me up? Yeah. But is that an image of what that looks like? Is that a day like you feel like you fulfilled your dream? Like I walked out on Fenway Park and I looked out, we're playing yellow. And I see 37,000 fans and they're singing, and I got emotional. I just looked out, I can't believe it was that moment. It's not a moment where I'm going to see necessarily millions of kids all over the world playing banana ball. But we'll feel it. We'll know it. And that's on that path to create 1 billion fans. And it's going to be a journey that I think is worth it. And it might be 30, 40, 50 years that this sport brings joy to kids, to families all over the world. And everyone's like, where are you going international? When are you going international? I'm like, we're not going to go right away. We're just in the first inning. We got a lot of fans to create in the United States first, and then to go to different countries. And that's big, and it's crazy, and it's wild, and it's vicious. But it's fun. It excites me because I know what it means to people. And when you know what something means to people, you see it every day with your son playing it, and you see we have a youth banana ball tournament. Kids come from all over the country to play banana ball.
I didn't know that.
And they're dancing. We've had 2 years back to back, and they're celebrating, they're dancing, they're doing walk-ups, and their parents are saying their kid who was quitting baseball, he's now playing every day, and it's the most fun he's ever had playing the game. When you see that, when you feel that, when you know that, we know we have an obligation, a responsibility to continue this and to build it at the highest level, build it all the way down. And that's what fires me up.
I love it. As a creative and entrepreneur yourself, do you have any advice for creatives and entrepreneurs out there that want to become successful in a creative field?
Well, I think it goes back to how you started. You think about this. It's create every day. Create before you consume. We're now in a world of consumption.
Yeah.
And we're in a world of consumption. It's very easy to want to consume. And some of the greatest, most innovative companies are working daily on how to get us to consume more.
Yeah.
And they're competing, and they're smarter than almost all the other companies in the world on how to do that. And so they're battling us on trying to get us to consume more. But we need creators. So how do you, every day you wake up and you say, I'm going to create first? How am I going to spend more hours creating and doing things that might not work and putting yourself out there in the world? So people don't realize, TikTok, for example, talks about, we're fortunate, we have millions of followers. We didn't know how to do TikTok in 2020 in the middle of COVID. We just told our team, every day put something out and learn something and get better. And the first few posts, no one watched. I mean, it was ridiculous. We had our groups director, who's now our vice president of our world tour. He dressed up in a Cupid costume and was doing the Cupid shuffle dance. That was our first post. That has nothing to do with anything. We learned don't do that. And then we learned try to do things that make baseball fun. So for all the creators out there, we're often thinking about what we want to do. We're dreaming of what we want to do, which dreams are great. Thinking about it is great. But start doing. Just get out there and start putting yourself out in the world. Start creating and not worried about what people think. Just keep showing up every day. We have now played hundreds of banana ball games. The first few banana ball games were ugly. They were messy. They were not well played. The sound was terrible. They weren't filmed right. They were nothing to where they are. You should look back every year at what you did and be embarrassed on the level of what you did. And if you're not embarrassed of what you did, you're not trying hard enough and you're not trying new things and you're not pushing yourself to innovate and keep showing up. And so that's what I think of a creator. It's get in the arena and start creating. And stop listening to all the noise out there of what you should do. And when people say, oh, man, that was a stupid thing. That was a silly thing. I don't know why you're doing that. Or you're getting hatred. Keep pushing and keep learning. Don't listen to the naysayers. Focus on the people that believe in you. But first, you got to believe in yourself and believe in putting yourself out there. And luckily, we've built a lot of belief in our organization because these things that most people said you can never do, we've started doing. And now our team often says, if Jesse says we're going to go on the moon and play on the moon, we might as well play on the moon. And maybe one day we will. And I think that's what it comes down to.
How do you learn to believe in yourself?
You start doing. So good example, my son, I remember this when he was much younger, and we went to the trampoline park and he was terrified. Like he was seeing all these big kids jumping on the trampolines and he was terrified. He was standing outside and he didn't want to go in. And I finally got him to come into the inside and he was watching and he didn't. He said, I'm not doing it. So I finally walked him into the actual where the trampolines were and he's just holding my hand, gripping it very tight. He's scared. Didn't want to do it. So I was like, hey, come with me and sit with me. So we sat on the trampoline and we just sat there. And I started moving a little bit and I saw a little bit of a smile come on his face. I was like, will you stand up with me, Maverick? He stood up with me. I held his hands. He started just standing. Then we start moving a little bit. Then he starts jumping. A month later, he's dominating that trampoline park. He is going down the slides. He's jumping off the biggest things. The only way you can believe in yourself is if you start doing and start trying things. You got to get your reps in. Yeah. Often we're afraid of the first time. Kids going swimming, 3 kids going swimming. Now they love it. I'm fortunate that I get the chance to speak all over the country. And, I can't believe when someone said they wanted to hire me to speak back in the day and I was like, what? $100? Are you kidding me? For me to tell our story? It was fascinating. But now I was nervous out of my mind. I was scared. But then once I got up there and I learned what worked and what didn't work, I got better. The next day I was nervous again. Next time I was nervous again. And now, unfortunately, I get to speak in front of companies I admire more than anybody in the world. They're asking me, this crazy guy in a yellow tuxedo, to speak. And I'm not as nervous anymore because I've been in front of them. I've got my reps in. I've been able to keep getting out and trying new things. And so to be a creator and believe in yourself, you just have to start.
One of the things you talked about that's really important is getting attention, and how getting attention is one of the most important, probably the most important thing to do. How do you get attention?
Whatever's normal, you do the exact opposite.
How do you define what's normal? Like you have to know an industry really well. You look at what they're doing and you do the exact opposite?
Yeah, to an extent. So for instance, if we were playing a regular baseball game, it'd be pretty hard for us to get attention. But if you have your players dancing, if you have your players doing over-the-top celebrations, if you have literally halftime shows in the middle of a baseball game that don't normally happen, you get attention. And so right now, there's so much noise and so much personalized. Everyone's a creator to an extent.
Yeah.
Everyone's putting things out. And so it's what are those things that are at a higher level, which is produced at a higher level, or just dramatically you're seeing something that is a misdirection or unique or different. So for instance, for us, like if people just continue to see us just singing songs, walking up to bed, that's not different anymore. That's become normal. So again, we have to disrupt ourselves. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. So that's why, we have to think bigger. We have to think unique. It's why Taylor Swift, like we talked about, she's continued to reinvent herself because her normal, she continues to do at a different level. It's no longer normal for her. And that's why she can create attention. So, for us, it's all of our ideas. We constantly think about, has this been done before? How do you plus it? How do you do it differently? And then how do you just try? Again, we have to just try things. So the things that get attention, Saturday Night Live is tremendous at it because they find a timely moment and then they plus it. They make it funny. They make it bigger. That's how you create attention.
At the same time, getting attention, I feel like there is a big difference between memorable views and they call it forgettable views now.
Yes.
How do you make sure that the attention you're getting is memorable?
It's a good point. And when we think about memorable, we're constantly focused solely on the actual live experience. I don't necessarily think about, when we think about social media, we don't think, how are we going to create something in social media that's unbelievably memorable? We want to create those experiences that are really special live. There's a lot of moments we involve players, families, really special moments on the field. In our firefighters team, we honor firefighters that have been serving with Bananas Foster, which is, our feature nonprofit, which honors foster families. We think, how do we create those moments that are really special and powerful? When you see the crowd stand and rise to honor foster family that they didn't know an hour ago is pretty special. Those are memorable moments live, but those aren't necessarily something that we're going to play unbelievably well on social unless you do great storytelling. So great storytelling is the equalizer. And so when we look at why do people care, if people are just like, oh, the Bananas are an overnight success, they got a bunch of money, they invested a bunch of money in doing different things, and now look at them. That's one thing. But when you realize like the core and the heart of where this started and where it is, there's a different level, I think, of care factor and investment in. It's the storytelling, it's the meaningful. No one cares about your success until they understand your setbacks. And anybody that's been successful has setbacks. And so in the bigger story picture, you got to tell the whole story. We have to often share the whole story because people just look at us, oh, you guys are everywhere in social media. I'm like, you don't understand how we worked to get here every step of the way. And we still got a lot of work to do because we're not nearly at the level I think we can be for our fans. But from an attention standpoint, it's again, we try to keep it simple. How do you create you wouldn't believe moments every night at the stadium? How do you get someone to say, you wouldn't believe what they did tonight? You wouldn't believe. And if you can do that with what your storytelling, your content, your creative, your social media, you wouldn't believe what they just did. Some can be forgettable and some can be memorable. You wouldn't believe can have powerful meaning, or it could just have, I can't believe they did that crazy thing and they had players skydive into it, whatever. There's two different thoughts there.
There's also a sense of, with you trying different things over and over and over again, it creates what we talked about earlier with this like memorable versus forgettable, that you remember it. But something I found interesting was you said that it is someone's first show, it's somebody's first show every night. And oftentimes, like I hadn't ever seen someone on stilts swing the bat and then run to first base before. And oftentimes those live moments, even if it is normal for people who have seen it before, it's going to be new for somebody there.
Yes.
And that really stands out.
Well, that again comes from Emily. Every game is someone's first game. We always talk about that when we speak for the group. And, while we have done this show 100 times, even though every show is completely different, we've done the framework of a show 100, 200, 300 times. Someone's walking in there for the first time. How do you make them feel when they first walk in? What do you do in the entrance? What about when you leave? There's a reason why I after every game, I sign to the last fan leaves. And it takes hours often. But it's worth it because they might have been on the wait list for 3 years. They might have flown in or drove 10, 20, 30 hours to get there. And for that one fan, it's worth it. And so that's the mindset that we teach, we coach, and it also gives us purpose in what we do. If you just do the same show over and over again, yeah, but it just becomes, you become numb to it. Oh, 40,000, 30,000. But when you get down and all of our players, we get down on a knee when we can, and we get to the level and you see that excitement. I had a kid that he's been making signs, They come I see kids with mini yellow tuxedos. And yeah, I mean, there were actually multiple last night, and they come up and they run and say, "Can I give you a hug?" And it's like, are you kidding me? What could give you more purpose and meaning than that? Then you have a young kid that looks up to you and you bring joy to, and they want to literally dress like you and make posters of you. And that happens all over the time. I mean, all the time for our players. So for us, that mindset, no matter how much we grow, I hope we always keep at our core. And it's why when we go to our biggest stadiums, when we have our fans' first chat, we don't have the chat right next to the dugout. We go to the furthest seats possible away in the highest upper deck, so everyone can see that point of view and see how far away they are, and to put themselves literally in the shoes of our fans and say, this is where fans are going to sit for their first ever Banana Ball game. How are we going to get up here? How are we going to make them feel? How are we going to win the upper deck? That's the difference. And that gets us excited.
Jesse, it's been such an honor to chat with you today. I've learned so much, and I feel like it was really important for me to chat with you because I feel like I'm getting to a point now where I've battling this idea of perfectionism in content versus just experimenting again. I feel like I really need to move back into the level I used to be. So it's really amazing to see what you've created. Yeah. You and your team have created.
Thank you.
And I know you're a very busy guy, so I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. At the end of every interview, I always give a thank you card.
It's very kind.
And then I also this is the first time I've ever done this, I made a second thank you card for you that's more personable because of your story really stood out to me.
Well, thank you.
And it was really amazing to hear from my family that they've always wanted to go to a Savannah Bananas game, and then to be able to give them that experience last night to help them when they helped me so much in with my health issues that I've had. And I'll never be able to pay them back, but to do something very small for them that gave them this experience that we had together means the world. Did
it bring them joy? Did it tell me, was it fun for them? I mean, again, what were their thought process?
They loved it. My brother said at the end it was his favorite sporting event he's been to. My dad was super excited too, and then my mom absolutely loved Bananas Foster. Oh. She's on the foster care review board, so she absolutely loved that.
And that's where you think about it. If you can create something that can win for 2 to 82, and whatever, we want to create a world where everyone feels like they can be a part of it. Whether you want to be a Man Anna, a Dad Bod cheerleading squad, or whether you want to be with Princess Potassia, or you find something with foster care. I think you can create one singular thing that can be for everyone to feel part of something. And that's what we call this mythical place called Banana Land. And we bring Banana Land, wherever we go.
And that'll be in the future kind of like a Disneyland kind of thing, I'm guessing.
That's one of those big dreams that we have.
I'm excited to go one day.
It'll be special and unlike any experience in the world.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And we're out.
I appreciate you. Awesome.